She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cockacrow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cockacrow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cockacrow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. The naga jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokunani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Bangameri. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, so call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
It's an eco-friendly Christmas. The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union is pleased to present our annual Christmas promotion, commencing November 1st, 2021 and concludes December 17, 2021. The credit union recognizes and acknowledges the importance of minimizing our carbon footprint and has tailored this year's promotion to suit by presenting our members with an electric car and bikes, which will undoubtedly raise awareness and help our members to adopt. To participate, one must be a member of the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union, must like and follow the credit union's Facebook page, must have an existing loan with the credit union, must be in good standing with the credit union, must not be an immediate family member of any staff or committee member, must earn a gross of less than $150,000 monthly, and proof of this fact must be attached. And only one coupon is allowed per member. It's an eco-friendly Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Kellyan Mall, 162 Lamaha Street in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
Good evening. My name is Mark Benchop. It's Thursday, the 16th day of December. And as you know, the Christmas is around the corner. I don't know. That's it for 2021. It's almost over with. What is 2022 going to be like? You should see my facial expression when I ask that question. What is 2022 going to be like? Well, I don't know. Andrew's Supermarket, I'm sure they're going to have some big sales this Christmas, this holiday. So go right out there and support them. And if you are in the Brooklyn area, and you want your whatever, schools, uniform, nurses, whatever it is, shoes, bags, caps, gowns, accessories, whatever it is that you want, visit this store. Tell them you heard it right here on 107.1 FM, 5606 Church Avenue. If you don't have a car, just hop in a dollar van, a dollar cab. It's no longer a dollar, but it's still called a dollar cab. And don't forget, right, yep, Andrew's Supermarket, they have big sales. You can get your chocolates, you can get whatever, your flowers, your hampers, whatever, Pampers, for folks like Lemon and others, Pampers, whatever. Head down to Andrew's Supermarket. Good evening. My name is Mark Benchop. Don't ask me if I'm tired of the fact that this has been a long race, a long campaign for those guys who are vying for whatever positions within their party, People's National Congress reform. That is going to come to an end in in quite a few hours from now. Oh, it's been a long campaign for those guys, right? It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. And the delegates will go out Saturday, bright and early Saturday. Those who are going to be in Congress Place or wherever they are going to be, to cast their votes for the next leader of the People's National Congress reform, the next chairman of the People's National Congress reform, the next vice chairman. I think they have two vice chairman's position, the next treasurer, persons to represent the party at the central executive level. Lots of folks are running. Lots of folks. I believe about almost 10 persons are running for the chairmanship of the party. 10. I'm not here to grade anybody. I'm not going to grade them. But 10. But we know of 3 persons who are running for the leadership of the People's National Congress reform. People want to see some sort of changes. And so whatever people are looking for, they are going to go out and cast their votes for either Joseph Harmon, Aubrey Norton, or Richard Van Best Charles. So for those delegates, and this is how it operates, the vote is not going to be done on social media. The vote is not going to be done on Facebook, on WhatsApp groups, or whatever. The vote will be done, it will be cast only for those who are legitimate members of the People's National Congress reform, those who have party cards as members, party cards as members. So everybody could jump up and say, oh, there's a difference, mind you, sorry. The supporters of the PNCR and members of the PNCR. There's a big difference. Big difference. You know what I mean? And so Saturday, as soon as the sun gets up, people are going to be heading down to Congress Place to cast their vote for either Joseph Frederick Harmon, Aubrey Compton Norton, or Richard Van West Charles. Richard Van West Charles. There are other persons running for positions. Like I've said, the chairman of the party. They have lots and lots of folks who are running for that position. You know, and if we can have Lemon kindly remove the photograph of these gentlemen vying for the leadership. We here at 107.1 FM, we wish them the very best. Yes, we do. All right, 13 minutes after 8 o'clock. Good evening to all of you. Where should we start? Let me check some of your comments. Where should we start? I see some folks are saying Norton all the way. People have the candidates of their candidate of their choice. Some folks are for Joseph Harmon. Some folks are for Richard Van West Charles, and Basil Williams dropped out of the race. Again, let me say that Basil Williams dropped out of the race. Valda Lawrence is not in the race. Valda Lawrence is not in the race. She's not. She dropped out she was never in the race, but she was nominated. So I wouldn't say that she has dropped out because she was never in the race in the first place. Once you are in the race and you don't want to run anymore, it simply means you've dropped out, but you were in the race. But in the case of Valda Ann Lawrence, she was nominated and she has refused nominations on the grounds that for personal reasons. And so she's not in that race. But Valda Lawrence is the acting leader right now. That position will change, hopefully. That position will change as of Saturday by maybe 6, 7, or 8 o'clock. I don't know. It could be earlier than that. It will change. It will change unless something drastically happens. Let's hope not. But as of Saturday, Valda Lawrence will no longer be the acting leader. David Arthur Granger will no longer be the leader. And speaking of David Arthur Granger, let me wish him a speedy recovery. He is currently in Cuba. He is undergoing his checkup. And let us hope that he is and he continues to be in great health. So good evening to former President David Arthur Granger and leader of the People's National Congress Reform for the next few hours, because by Saturday, once everything goes well, transparent, democratic, peaceful, there will be a peaceful transition from David Arthur Granger as leader of the People's National Congress Reform, from David Arthur Granger, and then also the acting leader, Valda Ann Lawrence. It will change hands. Let's go down the memory lane. Former president and founder leader of the People's National Congress. Because during his time, it was the People's National Congress. The reform came about sometime in 2001. The reform component, and that came about as a result of Stanley Ming and others with the reform component. And that was the first, mind you, the first coalition in years, because the first coalition, was with Peter DeGar and the PNC under Forbes Burnham. And then after the death of Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham in 1985, this guy, Hugh Desmond Hoyt, I don't know, we all know him as Desmond Hoyt, but his first name is actually Hugh, not Y-O-U or just Hugh. It is H-U-G-H, Hugh, right? Hugh Desmond Hoyt, Hugh Desmond Hoyt. Under Desmond Hoyt's leadership as opposition leader, because he moved from president in 1985, that was changed in 1992, October 5th. In 2001, there was another coalition. And a lot of people are not talking about that other coalition. Mind you, I do believe that the PPP rigged the 2001, the March 2001 elections. It's just my opinion, mind you, based on the evidence that we saw in 2006, the evidence we saw in 2011, with what we consider the jiggery-pokery of the elections and the perception of manipulation of the votes at GCOM. And so in 2001, I have this strong belief that the coalition then, PNC/Reform, because it was a coalition, like I've said, of the Reform component that joined up with the People's National Congress. And the head of that Reform group was Stanley Ming. And a lot of you who probably didn't know where that Reform component came from, it came from that coalition. Stanley Ming, Eric Phillips, Jerome Khan, and lots of others. So that's just a brief background on the coalition and the origin of the Reform component. After the death of Hugh Desmond Hoyt on the 20th or the 21st of December 2002, this guy, Robert Orlando Corbin, became leader of the People's National Congress Reform. And a lot of people were beating drums. They were like, yes, Robert Corbin will take the fight to the PPP because of his years of experience. Mind you, I want you to listen to me carefully. His years of experience of being in the trenches, fighting the PPP. And lots of people were prepared for that political confrontation in a constructive way, mind you. Not the sort of fight, because the PPP, and thank you, Michelle Lampkin, point of correction, that Mr. Hoyt died on the 22nd, not the 21st, but the 22nd of December, 2002. Thank you so much, ma'am. Lots of historians we have on, lots of historians. So Robert Corbin, people were happy, not happy that Mr. Hoyt died, because Mr. Hoyt took the fight, yes, took the fight to the PPP. So don't get that wrong. Belatedly, yes, he took that fight. He understood. And a lot of folks, PNCR folks and not so PNCR folks, they were looking forward for a real fight. Again, not physical fight, because you know the PPP, they like to twist people's words. They like to twist things, right? Flop it and twist things around. And so people were expecting the fight by this guy who became the leader of the People's National Congress reform and the opposition leader. Because when Mr. Hoyt died, he was the opposition leader and he was also the leader of the PNCR. And so when Mr. Hoyt died, Mr. Robert Corbin was then the chairman of the party. And so Mr. Robert Corbin was also in Parliament. The parliamentarians voted for him to become the opposition leader. They didn't have to vote. There was no special Congress for Robert Corbin to become the next leader. There was no special Congress because according to the party's constitution, the next person in line for the leadership of the party is the chairman. And at that time, after the death of Hugh Desmond Hoyt, Robert Corbin was in line. And so automatically, he became the leader of the PNCR. And people were jumping up. People were happy that the fight was going to be taken. And so that was it. There was no fight. There was nothing. The people were disappointed. Even Robert Corbin was talking about the fight. Robert Corbin was talking about the fight. And people bought into that. People bought into that. But they were disappointed. In a big way. Disappointed. The normal thing when politicians are running for office. They tell you what you want to hear. They tell you that they love you. They tell you that they're going to fight for you. They tell you that they're going to do X, Y, or Z for you. We are hearing it from all of the politicians, every single one of them. It is up to you to decide on whether what they are saying to you is serious or not. Whether they can deliver what they are promising you. Lots of promises. Promises here, promises there, promises of unity, promises of fighting, promises of all sorts of things we're hearing from the candidates. But again, I say, it is up to you guys to decide on whether you want to buy what they're saying or not. That's all. You know, and I'll say this, there are folks, and I see some of the comments, that there are folks, yes, and I know because of that fight, Mr. Corbin never really fought. People were disappointed. After he became the leader of the party, that was it. Now, I say this in wanting to be constructive because I know Mr. Corbin personally. I like the guy. There's nothing personal. I'm speaking strictly from a political standpoint. Nothing else. And it is my opinion, mind you. Again, nothing personal against Mr. Robert Orlando Corbin, because people love to label Mark as being personal or Mark in like this body or Mark, you know. I'm a political commentator or a talk show host, whatever. That's who I am, right? And you don't expect me to sit here and just glorify one candidate over the other or destroy another candidate. I haven't done that. I haven't done that. I am becoming more matured now, you know. I'm a big guy now, you know. I've learned experience. I'm a political black belt. I've been there, done that. And so in this particular race, I am cautious. Hence my reason for not having a horse in the race, because I'm cautious. I'm listening to them, whether it's those who are running for the leadership those who are running for chairmanship, vice chair, whatever. I'm listening to them. I smile when I hear some of them talk. In fact, I LOL. You guys know what LOL means, right? Love or loved. That's LOL, laugh out loud, right? And so, I know that some of them are in the race just for being in the race and trying a thing. Some of them are trying this young people thing, and I don't buy into that. I think, yes, young people should play a role or whatever, but you don't throw your hat in a race simply because you're young and to want people to vote for you because you're young. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Because were I to identify a young candidate and say, let us say, for example, GT Root girl, no, she's old. She's probably in her 60s or 70s, but she's probably still young. Probably, let us take for example, Orson Jomo Robertson is a young person. I don't know who the individual is, but good evening to you, Orson. And Orson is running for the chairmanship of the People's National Congress Reform. And he comes on straight up and he's telling people to vote for him because he is young. Now, wait a minute. Should people vote for Orson because he's young? Or should people vote for Lemon because he's old? Or should people vote for Stanbone because he's young? Or should people vote for Miss Booker because she's a beautiful lady? Now, listen to me carefully. Please do. Please do. If somebody presents themselves as a candidate, you must look for qualities. You must look for not necessarily years of experience, but don't let them come and try to basically dab mud on you, so to speak, like the dab bottom house to make it look nice and so forth. Those who from the current era, you got to show something. And that, to me, that sort of resume will be impressive. So don't just come with a young thing and that people must go out and vote for people because they're young. Vote for me because I'm young. Vote for me because I'm a female. Sorry, got carried away there. I was looking at a photograph of Jack Deere when he said, vote for me, right? Now, this is a serious show, right? So look at all of the candidates and be objective. Be objective. Young, yes, but what have you done in your community? What have you done in terms of speaking out when you had an opportunity to speak out? Don't bounce up and come on a platform and say because you're young, people got to vote for you. Show something. Show some reason why people should vote for you. Show reason why people should vote for you because you're young. And once you can present that reasoning, proper reasoning, then people will be able to say, well, you will get that vote because not only are you young, but you're prepared to take over the position or be in that position and function effectively. Argue your case in that manner. Don't argue it because you're young, or don't argue it because you are a female. Don't do that. At least you wouldn't get my vote. You wouldn't get my support. Well, I can't vote, but you wouldn't get my support because I view those sort of things as gimmickry to go out and try to brainwash the delegates. That's just my opinion, mind you. That's just my opinion. Now, there are some young folks who have old people's mentality, so to speak. I'm not saying that old people get a certain mentality because they are old people with vision. They are old people with vision. They are young people who are visionless. They have no idea, mind you, of what they're doing and what they're saying. Again, I just thought I'd get that point clear. Let me click that off. We're done with that. Vote for somebody because they're young. That's it. Vote for somebody because they're female. Let's scratch that out. We're done with that. Done with that. You know, let's see what Sherwin Green is saying. You know, I like to pick on Sherwin Green. Good evening, Sherwin. Sherwin is saying it's silly for anyone to simply ask one to vote for them because of age. I got you. We are on the same page on this issue, Mr. Sherwin Green. We are on the same age. I mean, on the same page. Because it is what it is. Or vote for them because they're female. Now, I'd like to see female, yes, in positions. Maybe one day, who knows, there may be a female leader of the party. I know Valda Ann Lawrence is acting leader until Saturday. But that's it. A competent leader of the People's National Congress reform. Maybe not this time, obviously not this time around. Maybe next time, maybe the other time, or whatever. In terms of the chairmanship of the party, there are lots of folks running. And mind you, I heard the chief of staff, the former chief of staff, Gary Best, is in the race. I didn't realize that he's in the race. I didn't realize that he is in the race, but he is in the race. Gary Best is in the race. I don't know. The chairman of the party. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. Look for persons and vote for individuals that are not just all talk. Because at the end of the day, some of you may regret. That's all I'm saying. Because look at what happened in 2015. A lot of people jumped around. And they loved Harman, they loved Granger, they loved everybody. Some of them wanted to chop off my neck for Harman. And hey, PNC people, y'all ain't easy. That's why they're in my car now, watching y'all. Some of y'all ain't easy. Y'all quick to throw people off the bus. Y'all ain't easy, you know. Y'all ain't easy. Oh, yeah. You guys, Gary Best is in the race. Gary Best is in the race. I wonder how Gary feels when he is driving out of his compound, because he lives a stone throw away from Jack Dale in Pradoville too. I don't know, that they might change that to Politicalville too. But on a serious note, though, Gary Best is in the race. Who else for chairmanship? Sharma Solomon is in the race. I think that Sharma Solomon has a solid track record. And he is seen as one of the top candidates. Mr. Roysdale Ford, a solid track record. And he's also seen as a top candidate in the race for chairman of the People's National Congress reform. A young man by the name of Sherwin Holder is also in the race. Sherwin is young. I don't know much of Sherwin, honestly. I only saw his name when he became a member of parliament. But remember, you know, I think he's a PNC, I'm not sure. But you know, let me address this individual who seemed bent on telling me that he knows that Van West is my man. Look, let me say this to you, Jomo or Wyatt. If I, Mark Anthony Benshaw, want to say publicly Van West Charles is the man, there's nobody, absolutely no one, Jomo, that I'm afraid of or who will take a whip and beat me to say that Van West is the man. So don't come to me with this BS, but you know that Van West is the man. You know, that I know that I am supporting Van West. If I were supporting Van West, there's nobody could stop me from saying that. But the truth of the matter is, I have said this, that I have no horse in the race. If I was supporting Joseph Harmon, there's nobody could stop me from saying publicly that this is my candidate. This is my choice. If it was Aubrey Norton and all three gentlemen, I know. So don't try to come with this Jim Cock bring Ramgo Nancy story that you know. You must be an Obia man. If you're an Obia man, right? If you're an Obia man, tell me what numbers to play in the lotto tomorrow. I want to play the lotto. Since you want to be an Obia man, right? Jomo. But on a serious note, nobody could stop me from supporting a candidate. I think that they have good qualities in all three candidates. None of them is perfect. Not a single one of them is perfect. Not a single one. And so I have decided that I have no horse in the race. What more do you want me to do? You want me to take my shirt, my tie off, and show you some muscles and let you believe me, Jomo, that I have no horse in the race, and that you believe that I am afraid to say that I have a horse in the race? I would have announced that a while now, and I would have been backing that person 100%. 100%. None of the candidates, none of them, of the three of them, none of them is perfect. Not a single one of them. So don't let any one of them come to tell you guys that he is perfect. Don't let any one of them tell you that. Aubrey Norton is not perfect, right? In fact, this world has no perfect man. You identify a perfect man. So Aubrey is not perfect. Van West Charles is not perfect. Harmon is not perfect. Right? So don't give me that Jim Cock bring Ramgood story. I would have been on the mountaintop. I would have been on the mountaintop supporting a candidate of my choice. I have friends who are on the teams of all three of these guys. They are candidates that I admire. I'll tell you guys this. Don't be mistaken. I admire Sharma Solomon. Sharma Solomon has asked for my endorsement. He doesn't have an endorsement from me, but I admire him. I think he's a strong candidate. In fact, I think he's very strong. Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford has asked for my support. Simple as that. And I have told both of them that there will be no endorsement. but I wish the two of them the best in this race. And I've known Roysdale for years. For years. But I'll tell you guys this. If I were to endorse Roysdale over Sharma Solomon, because I do think the race is between the two of them. No offense to the other candidates. None whatsoever, including the young man from Essequibo, Mr. Holder, Sherwin Holder, including Miss Amanza Walton Desir. No offense to them, because I don't know the two of them other than last year when they became MP or when the campaign was. I've never heard of them, and that's the honest truth. So it will be difficult for me to even rush up to say that, and I will be dishonest if I say that they are strong candidates. Some people see them as strong candidates, and that's okay. Let's agree to disagree. Some people do see them as strong candidates. It doesn't mean that they cannot contribute towards the building and the unification of the party. They can do that. That's just my opinion, mind you. But Mr. Sharma Solomon and Mr. Roysdale Ford are two individuals that I've known for many, many years, especially Roysdale Ford, who acted. In fact, he did my trumped-up treason case pro bono when he was a young lawyer. A young lawyer. So somebody's saying here, endorse them both. Endorse both of them. I wish them the best. I wish all of the candidates the best, including Miss Amanza Walton Desir, including Mr. Holder, that young man from Essequibo. And we'll see how it goes. But I can only share my opinion with you guys. I can only share my opinion. And that's all I can share, my opinion with you guys. We are all entitled to that opinion, and we're having a gaffe, and I'm looking at some of your comments and so forth. We're having that gaffe, and some people may say, and I know they're probably forcing me to say, hey, wait a minute, Mark, you don't like Aubrey Norton. I don't know. I don't think there's any evidence that I don't like Aubrey. I've known Aubrey for over 20-something years. Over 20-something years. And we have done work together. In fact, in 1997, when I was younger and everything, he was the general secretary. That's a story maybe Aubrey Norton should tell some of his people if he's watching. But he and I and some others, we were driving to Washington, D.C. many years ago, and I brought up that story with Aubrey, and Aubrey had a laugh about it. We all had a laugh about it. But it was a serious incident that I do believe didn't require a laugh. But I laughed about it too. And Aubrey can share that situation, back in 1997, leading up to the 1997 elections. And over the years, I have had what is called a cordial relationship with Aubrey Norton. In fact, during the struggle out in Linden, Aubrey Norton and the others played a role there, and that role was headed by Sharma Solomon, and we all played that role. We all were part of that. And so there's nothing personal against Mr. Aubrey Norton. I've noticed a lot of people on social media are basically placing their bet on him vying for the leadership of the party. And I can't say that you guys are wrong. Neither am I going to say that he is the right guy. Neither am I going to say any one of them is the right guy. It's up to the delegates to make that decision. I don't want to choose a horse in this race. at all. And it's not because of anything personal. And this is what some of you guys need to understand. And I'll share this personal story with you. But behind the scene, and Aubrey can confirm this, I have done I've given Aubrey a lot of advice. In fact, I've given Aubrey more advice than any of the candidates. I've never advised Harmon on anything as it pertains to this campaign. I've never advised Dr. Richard Van West Charles on anything about this campaign. The most that I've done is invite Van West Charles and Joseph Harmon to come. But the person that I've had most of the conversation with in terms of advising, even before he announced his candidacy, was Aubrey Norton. So a lot of you who don't understand maybe what I'm doing or what I'm saying, you get this impression that I dislike a candidate or I like another candidate. And that is not the case. How would you say if someone talks to someone and advise them, hey, when you're on air, you got to do this, you got to do that. Is your release? Let me put it out there for you, and all these things. You see, a lot of things you guys don't know. Lots of things you guys don't know. And so sometimes I take umbrage when I see people say that that Mark doesn't like Aubrey Norton. Now, there are some things about the candidates that I like, and there are some things about the candidates that I dislike. All three of them, like I've said, they're not perfect. But I prefer that when it comes to choosing the next leader of the party, the PNCR, of which I'm not a member, mind you, but the delegates will be the ones to decide on who they want to be the next leader of the PNCR. And so, with that said, I wish all three candidates the best. And I, like all of you, you want to see a peaceful and a very transparent democratic elections. I have given all of the candidates equal time. Come on, Ben Sharp Radio, just talk. There's some who have accepted it, and there's some who say that they're busy. What do you guys expect me to do? Go and drag them? Say that they're busy because they're busy? What do you guys expect me? I have other stuff to do with my life, right? I have other stuff to do with my life. So, again, I say all of this, and I can say more, that you know, yep. I just got a message from one of Aubrey's team member, and that person is running for vice chair of the party. She should have been on tonight, but she has asked to be on tomorrow night. And tomorrow will be a busy night. It'll be a busy night. So you guys may be surprised if you see me, you know. Let me go to this individual who seemed to be, this person said, Mr. Ben Sharp, good night. And just keep an eye on this guy, Sean Brandt. He's new. It was claimed that the presidential complex was stormed in Georgetown. This topic emanated from a discussion quite recently. It was stormed. Google, find out. Or whenever you go to Linden, ask the guy that actually knows about that. What happened at the office of the president on July 3rd, 2002. Ask Philip Bino. Ask Philip Bino. He's going to tell you that. Because there was no evidence that it was stormed. What the evidence led to was that people were shaking the gate. They were frustrated. As you see what happened in the White House, people shake the fence, they go at the fence, they jump over the fence and all sorts of things, and they're not slaughtered. So I don't know what's the relevance of this discussion, you, Sean Brandt. if it is you or maybe an operative at maybe one of Kwame's paid operatives. And if you're not, then I apologize. But just like that, this thing just popped up just like that. You see, I've been in the political battlefield for a while to understand these sort of questions and distractions and so forth. And so I just want you to know that those people who were slaughtered at office of the president did not deserve to be slaughtered. They just did not. They were old folks. They were females. They had absolutely no weapons or nothing. There was no intention to overthrow anybody at all. But I get where you're coming from, Sean Brandt. I get where you're coming from. I'm an old guy in this political game. I get where you're coming from. You know, in my opinion, those trigger-happy presidential guard who were guarding Barra Jagdeo, who was then the president of Guyana, they should have been charged with murder. They slaughtered those individuals. The gate was left open. Only God in heaven knows why. But if you want to ask, if I'll say this about what happened on that day and the protest that diverted and went in the direction of the office of the president, that was never and should never have been the case, because that was never part of the protest based on what I've heard. It was planned to go in front of Pegasus, to have a peaceful protest there, to let the prime ministers and presidents of other countries who were there for CARICOM to hear what is happening in the country. The crowd probably took cue from Philip Bino, I don't know, went in front of the office of the president, and the rest is history. A sad story, but those people didn't deserve to be killed at all. The gate was left open, maybe deliberate, and those trigger-happy, murderous presidential guards opened fire on the people. And there should have been a commission of inquiry on that. And so maybe Philip Bino can answer that question. Philip, if you're listening, please get in touch with this guy. He wants to know, answer his question. Now let's get back to this whole thing of the elections. Good. So let's get back to this whole question about, or discussion about, the Congress on Saturday. People are going to talk all. I see what I consider mild mudslinging. Mild mud slinging. Before we get to that, let me welcome Ravin Jagdeo. Look at these guys. Look at the level of discussion. Look at these guys. They can't say that's all they can say, you know. And the B word and this and that. That's all. That's the level. That's their thinking. That is just the level of their thinking. And so tonight, let us welcome Ravin Jagdeo. Maybe he is the husband of Bharat. I don't know. We don't know. But let us give him a warm welcome. The trenches are out. So he got a warm welcome, and I'm sure, thank you, Betsy Freeze, in the trench. Blujum, in the trench. He's gone, and that's it. And that's the level, that's their thinking. That's their thinking, you know, because we're big men. You're a big man. All you can talk is B-U-G-G, and you know what I'm spelling out here. That's all you could talk as big men. Only little, you're not even the What sort of big men gonna sit down and discuss those manner of things? I don't know. They have some very soft spot in them. You know what I mean? And so they come here and they can't control themselves. They see me. They got all worked up, handsome, strong, nice guy, lovely guy, but not here, not on my doorstep. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else with that. They see me and they all just fall in love with me. Look at them. They get excited when they see me. All of the trench crappos, all of them at Freedom House, they just get excited. Now back to the Congress, because we were looking at the time. And so, you hear that who was away, who went away, and who wasn't in Guyana, and who was away, and who, at the end of the day, whether you were away, whether you were in Guyana or whatever, everyone can pool their resources, whether financially, academic resources, whatever experience, and whatever, you know what I mean? And whatever, and whatever, I don't know. Some people see you on air and then they still messaging you. I get offended with these people. Honestly, sometimes I get vexed, and you guys don't want to see my vexed face. I get vexed for real, some of these folks. And then, when people argue and people say that people were away and they weren't in no struggle, and look, I've been there. I was in the trenches. I was in the struggle. I was there. Morning, noon, and night, and early morning. All over, I was there. I was there in the mud, so to speak, on the political battlefield. And a lot of folks who are talking about people were outside of Guyana and they weren't there. Look, stop for a moment. I'm no Johnny come lately. I've been there in the political trenches. So I know. A lot of folks who are talking, but other folks weren't there and they weren't in Guyana and so forth. Those folks, most of them were there in Guyana. Ask them, what have they done? So don't argue that people were away. And by virtue of that, they have done nothing. And let me swing this around to say that most of those folks who are arguing that people were away and didn't do anything, most of them were right there in Guyana. And I would say it. They too didn't do anything. Because that road, that battlefield was a lonely battlefield. Just a few of us who were there on that battlefield. Look, it's 1 minute after 9. Tomorrow will be a busy night. Very busy night. All of the candidates, whoever want time, inbox me. I'll put it to management and we will give everybody time. Tomorrow is Friday. Free of charge. Nobody has to pay for anything because this is the people's station. It is your station. We want to broadcast for you guys. We practice real democracy right here on 107.1 FM. Real democracy. Here why? Because I know there are times when you guys disagree with me, and I respect that. And there are times that I disagree with you guys. But we agree to disagree. That is democracy. You know, that's why I don't want people to feel that I'm afraid to pick a horse. I'm not. Really, I'm not. I could easily say whoever it is. I'm not. But I honestly don't have a horse in the race, man. Right? But I see a lot of people who are running for office. Most of them, I don't know where they were or what struggle they were a part of. They weren't part of any struggle at all. And so I'm a bit nervous, though, that, people who don't understand the struggle are talking about struggle. And it pains me because I could read right through some of these folks when they talk. I could see right through them. And I'm not talking about those who are running for the top, the leadership. I'm not talking about them because they've all played a role in the Granger's administration. Joseph Harmon was Minister of State. People have their issues with him. Some people think that he did well, and some people have their issues with him. But he was part of the Granger's administration. You have Dr. Richard Van West Charles was also part of the Granger's administration. He performed at GWI. And I tell you what, he turned around that agency because for 23 years, the PPP did absolutely nothing. Nothing. They recently, a water treatment plant in an area next to the Kanji Bridge that's called Shitanka. Yep, that water treatment plant started under the coalition and completed 98% of that. So you see these political vagabonds in the PPP taking pictures and standing up next to that. That is a brainchild of the coalition. A brainchild of the coalition. So when the three candidates go out, because all three of the candidates were part of the David Granger's administration, played a role in the David Granger's administration. Van West Charles, GWI, Joseph Harmon, Minister of State, and then Director of the Office of the Ministry of the Presidency, something like that, Minister of whatever. And then you had, Aubrey Compton Norton was also part of the Granger's administration. He served on the David Granger's administration. And I say this for folks like Charles Series to understand as well, right? That Aubrey Norton was the presidential advisor. A big position, mind you. Big position. Presidential advisor on youth empowerment. It was a big position. He was an advisor to the president. And so all three gentlemen, all three candidates played a part in the David Granger's administration. All three of them. Look at their track record. And not only their track record as their performance or performances under the Granger's administration, their prior performances and so forth and so on. And so when you vote, you must be able to vote, not out of emotions, because we know where emotions can lead. Emotions oftentimes lead to disappointments. Again, I've been in this political battlefield for years. I know of the emotions and I know what they lead to. They lead to disappointments. Do not set yourselves up for disappointments. Please do not. Be rational when you vote for a candidate. You vote because you know that that person, whether it is Van West Charles, has the vision for the party and by extension the country, or whether it's Joseph Harmon, or whether it is Aubrey Compton Norton. Vote on those issues, not on emotions, because emotions will lead to disappointments. It oftentimes do, not only in politics, but in life in general. I say this because I know a lot of you are disappointed right now. And that's a fact. That's a fact. But as you prepare those delegates, as you prepare to go out and vote on Saturday, December 18th, vote wise, vote smart. Don't vote because of emotions. You will remember this day right here. Because oftentimes when people like myself, when we speak and try to be objective, we get cussed out. A lot of you cursed me out for Joseph Harmon and the coalition and Grange and everybody. Y'all cussed me out on social media. Mark bitter, Mark this, Mark that, Mark shut up, Mark. And you see what happened? You see what happened? Now, I'm not saying I'm a prophet. Far from that. Don't vote on just emotions. It will get you nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Again, I wish the candidates all the best. Aubrey Norton, my fellow Lindoner, Campbellville man, Richard Van West Charles, all the best. And the guy from Port Drawing, Harmon, Joseph Frederick Harmon, Port Drawing. All the best to those three candidates. And I really do mean it. All the best. I will be back tomorrow. We'll have a busy day, a busy show, as they prepare to head to Congress Place for the voting, to elect the next leader of the PNCR. Who will that person be? Who will that person be? Tomorrow is a busy day on 107.1 FM. God bless you all. God bless that beautiful, beautiful country. I'll be back tomorrow. Same place, same time on 107.1 FM. Have a good night, and God bless you all.
She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. Forgot a crow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cock crow, dog a bark, donkey bray, horse and they even duck a quack. Cock crow, dog a bark, donkey bray, horse and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now I come home. Inaga, jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. Sun a go down, but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokonani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Banga Mary. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country.